where you, if you select a supplier in the field, the selection list at the left, then the specific products of that supplier come in the selection list down. It was some problem to find out how to code that in Xforms, but that was doable. And this way we want to implement more features that can be used in Xforms, which are needed by industry. I can, by the way, give you a live demonstration. My computer wants to do it. So what we have here is just the map DB forms in the local computer. I don't have an internet connection now. And there I have a template, and the template is a normal XML file. It's an XML purchase order, a little bit shaped around the GS1 standard of the purchase order. And if I click the XML, then a small shell program opened. Before we used the DOS batch file for this, but it is nicer to have an executable. Students made that for me. And you will see already a number of issues that I want to discuss. First, the stupid security, which is in every browser and which is difficult to switch off. But maybe we can get around that somehow. The second issue is the performance. We didn't look at performance yet, but what is the machine is doing now is transforming with XSLT, with the Microsoft XSLT engine, the schema and the instance into an Xforms HTML. And well, I imagine that if we use a different XSLT engine, that it will be already a lot quicker.
And a faster computer is just a network, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And by the way, if you use it all the time, you don't need to do this transformation. In fact, you only would need to do this transformation if you get a new message based on a new schema. So in principle, we could just start with the HTML format of the export.
Is the transformation engine in Internet Explorer smart enough to recognize that? So if you would close the browser and click on a different purchase order based on the same...
My browser was closed.
Yeah, but it took a long time, right?
Sorry?
It took a long time.
Yes, yes. The transformation took a long time because the Microsoft...
and you mentioned that you could would not need to do the transformation again.
Exactly.
But you can only just put in the new data if another XML is based on the same schema,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
So is this current setup, is it smart enough to recognize that it only needs to put in new data?
This not. So when I click now, it all the time does the transformation.
Yeah,
but
so
it's doable to change the script, this shell, what is around it, to give the option whether you need a full transformation or only base yourself on already existing template.
Fred, may I interrupt? There was a little change in the program. The program says that now Boron, the programming language, will be presented in the other room, but it is changed with several rocks. So now the desktop written in Python will be in the other room, and Boron will be later today. So people know.
Okay.
Good.
Well, what you here see is also the third issue. What we saw on the screenshot was that we have nice selection lists here, and that worked. In fact, it works in the pilot, which is operational now. It all works. But recently I upgraded from IE6 to IE8, and in IE8 it suddenly doesn't work anymore. That is some compatibility issue between the Xforms code we are generating and the IE8 and the forms player, which is the Xforms engine that we use to present this. So this is one of the things we want to correct in the pilot we are starting now.
So actually you choose Xforms as a standard because it was a standard.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the implementation for the standard is
Exactly.
so far, right?
Well, that's one of my issues is that both XSLT and Xforms behave differently across platforms, across browsers, across engines, and that's a problem. I think we need to resolve that.
And so does CSS.
Yes. So, yes.
All of it does, yeah.
Okay.
That's the joy of current web development.
Right. This one. Presentation. This is another issue. Somehow, this is also a forms player bug, I think. And every time I close the screen, it comes with a strange error message. So functionally, it all works because we have it working in a pilot, but technically, there's still something to do. And I was waiting the last, let's say, 6 months to have a decision from this multinational company, because then I have some funding to correct all these technical things. But now I do, so we start next Friday. This is the screen form what we use at the University of Groningen. We have a pilot there with 2 maintenance companies that do the maintenance of the building, the lights and the doors if they are not okay. The maintenance companies get an XML message directly from the facility management system of the university, read it in their EB forms, on their EB forms desktop, and then respond with the costs they made to repair, to do the reparation, to do the maintenance, the hours and the material that they can specify here. Okay, and this is a bit more fancy. I will show you this too. What I will show you now is the HTML that was transformed before. So this is what is said for performance reasons. You could do this more often and just use the HTML that had been produced. And then we get the basically the same screen. Always with live demonstrations. So it's called an invoice. And what we have here is also a number of features when you fill in the quantity and a price. It calculates the total amount, and it also calculates over the lines the total value-added tax in the different tax rates. Because that is needed for an invoice, and you don't need to calculate that yourself as a user, because
And so probably that info is also not in the XML message itself. It's
Some of
pure-
it, some of it is because it's obligated by the Dutch law for electronic invoices. And some of it is only for the user to
do.
present. And you can control that by means of this annotation file. Okay, we need a few assumptions here. So we need a browser that can understand X-forms. We also need an XSLT engine. We use now the Internet Explorer browser and the forms layer in it. We chose, I'm afraid to say that in this company, we chose the Microsoft environment because most small companies where we're targeted for have a Microsoft environment. So, but we have had it already running, the whole EB forms on Firefox environment as well. The XML schema should adhere to some rules. It's not so very strict that they should conform to the UN-CEFACT naming and design rules. But we have made the transformation now specifically for a Phoenician line structure of the XML. We could change that. We could add more XML structures and make them that would need some work.